everybody, welcome back to another video with me, Regal. Today, ladies and gentlemen, we have to start off the video with a bit of a disclaimer. Now, I understand that there is some controversy going around on the interwebs about the Gillete commercial, which we are going to be doing a review of today. However, I just want to say that I am personally taking zero stance on this issue whatsoever. I do believe that the intentions of the video were good. However, I do believe that the execution was very, in a way, lacking. Now, I'm going to give some bit of feedback somehow or in the way that I did on YouTube Rewind. However, I'm going to be sort of, I don't want to say nitpicking, but picking out the parts where there is certain things that went wrong with this. They're calling it a short film, but I'm basically going to say commercial. Now, as I say, the intention is pure. The execution and what follows after that isn't so great. So, I just want to say, Gillete, men can be better. You could have done better in conveying this message because, Jesus Christ, it is a train wreck and we're going to cover it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So, without further ado, let's get into this video. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we need to hit them off with something strong, something powerful, something that everybody can relate to. How about we start off by saying the word as loud as possible, bullying. That sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? It wasn't. It just wasn't.
The Me Too movement against sexual harassment.
Masculinity.
Is this the best a man can get? Is it?
Alright, I just want to address this because I noticed that it's a common theme throughout the entire video. So I'm going to bring it up this once and then I'm going to forget about it. But don't you notice that throughout the video, they're going to be having boys, or I guess men, whatever you want to call them, running around like a chicken that's lost its head. Now, I guess this is some symbolic view of it, and if my English teacher would be here, he would probably be telling me, hey, you know, they're trying to say that men have ran around amok, unchecked, and unsupervised for a long time. But this is a double-edged sword because some people may view this as people saying generally that men need to be kept on a leash because they're wild animals.
We can't hide from it.
Sexual harassment is taking over.
It's been going on far too long.
Okay, I can somewhat understand that concept. There are a lot of people who catcall girls, like even some of my friends who happen to be girls, they'll tell me, yeah, you know, people sexually harass you no matter what you look like. You know, people are, in a way, thirsty. Then again, sexual harassment is one of those things that it kind of goes both ways. To be honest with you, in my life, I've had people look at me like a slab of meat and not really think about what lies upstairs in terms of my head and what type of person I am. There was like one time that I was in Six Flags? Was it Six Flags? Yes, it was Six Flags. And there was this girl and she was like really looking at me like I was a slab of meat and she hadn't seen food since 5 years ago. You understand what I'm saying? But basically, yeah, I can understand this. This is like one of their points where they actually convey this thing. I just wanted to say, you know, there is a narrative here where it can kind of go down both streets. But I can say that I've seen it more done by men than women.
We can't laugh it off.
Who's the daddy? what I actually think she's trying to say.
Okay, I've seen this claim a lot where people say that there's such a thing as mansplaining. Now, from what I've seen and what I've researched, because I've actually looked this up, I'd say about a few weeks prior to making this video, just to see like some of the arguments that people were making. And mansplaining doesn't seem to have a particular definition. I guess the general thing that comes to mind when you hear the term mansplaining is a man trying to explain to a woman something, but demeaning her by acting like she doesn't know what is basically common knowledge, or doesn't know something just because she's a woman and that women are ignorant. Now, I don't think that scenario which they just showed us was the best thing about it, because what I think he's trying to say is, that's one of those things where a person has, in a way said something, but it doesn't come across as that thing. You can say that to a man, a woman, whatever. You can say that to any person, and it won't really be mansplaining. It'll just be like explaining the person's intentions, which is, in a way, what I'm doing with this video. What Gillette is saying is blah 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 blah. What I think they're trying to say is blah blah blah. That's my interpretation, and I'm trying to translate it to another person. So I don't think that this was properly carried out through its message, but again, we'll see that Gillette will come up short.
Making the same old excuses.
Boys will be boys.
Boys will be boys. Boys will be boys.
But something finally changed.
Allegations regarding sexual assault and sexual harassment.
But she says
Okay, so I just want to say this is one of the critical problems about the Gillette commercial. I'm not sitting here with the script in front of me, so everything that I'm going to do is off the top of my head and how I'm watching it as a viewer. And I think this is the best way that I can accurately say what's coming into my mind and have it recorded. So, no script is in front of me right now. So, I just want to say that this is the crucial problem about Gillette's commercial. It's an overgeneralization of men. Boys will be boys, will be boys, will be boys, will be boys. That, I personally haven't heard that saying in quite some time. Now, that being said, not every boy enjoys fighting. I personally, alright, we won't talk about me because I'm a very feisty person, but I know a lot of people who rather do things with their smarts, which personally, I rather work with my brain than work with my fists, just because working with your fists, if you don't know how to work with them too well, either you're going to end up with concussion, or worse, you're dead, or if you go a little too far, you'll get thrown in jail. So, I'm not doing that, and I'm not going to have my kid roughing up some other person. Now, my father had talked to me about this, and when I was a kid, there were a few kids that I used to hang around with where they would roughhouse, and so would I. And because I wasn't really one of those people who would fight just because I didn't know my own strength, but I knew that I didn't know my own strength, so I didn't want to fight that person, I would, let them beat on me. So I would take their hits, It really didn't hurt me, but then again, my father did notice it, and he was like, yo, Joe, you need to stop. You can't have these people jumping on top of you. That's not how it's going to work. So, that's the point where I wanted to address, again, not all boys or all men or all males are like this at all. The second thing, sexual harassment. That is a problem. Sexual assault. That is a definite problem. I will be the first to advocate for that. However, again, as I say, this video is an overgeneralization of men. The way that it's showing itself is like an overgeneralization. Not saying that this is Gillette's intention at all. However, that's what's being portrayed here. And that's where a lot of people had their arguments where, yeah, no, not all boys sexually harass women. Not all boys sexually assault women. Now, I will be the first to tell you that when I was growing up as a kid, my mom, she looks young, okay? So, when I would be walking with her to maybe the store, the corner store or something, and there would be these little hoodlums that would be on the street, and they would just go ahead and try to catcall at my mom. Now, mind you, she was married, but they didn't really care. So, when I started noticing that, I would give them glares like, yo, you need to stop. That's my mom. And I even catch myself doing that where I'm just like fuming, and I had this face where I just kind of like a resting bitch face. That's what it's called? Yeah, I think that's what it's called. But to the point where I don't like to see people doing that. So I think that's what you got to think of. Would you rather, or would you like if somebody was to do that to your mother or your sister? You know, it's one of those things. So yeah.
And there will be no going back. Because we believe in the best in men.
Men need to hold other men accountable.
I absolutely agree, Terry Crews. People need to hold people accountable. Not men need to hold men accountable. It's one of those things where you're not perfect, so why are you telling me how to be perfect, right? However, that being said, sexual assault is a huge problem. So, therefore, not men need to hold other men accountable. People need to hold people accountable. People who do sexual harassment and people who are sexually assaulting people are monsters. They are indecent, disgusting excuses for human beings. It's an unrefutable fact. However, that's the thing that I didn't like. Men need to hold other men accountable. No. We need to hold other people accountable for their actions.
Smile, sweetie.
Okay. This, I'm going to be honest with you, was one of those things where I didn't really quite grasp what he was saying. So, me being the really good researcher that I am, I went ahead and I asked around about some people's interpretations of it. And apparently it's supposed to be how society views women and how they should always be happy and they should always be smiling and always look pretty. Okay, I guess if you're gonna do that, you know, that's great. But at the same time, this is a few minute long short film or commercial. And I highly doubt that anybody's going to take that time to go really in depth and try to figure out what this commercial is saying. So, try to have it at face value.
To say the right thing. To act the right way.
Bro, not cool, not cool.
Some already are. In ways big
Yo, men,
and small.
I am strong.
Alright, you guys get brownie points from me for that. That was cute. Yes, that baby can do anything.
But some is not enough.
It's not how we treat each other, okay?
Okay.
Because the boys watching today will be the men of tomorrow.
Okay, as you guys can probably tell, the video's coming down to an end, and I mean, you're still allowed to click off the video, but I ask that you guys bear with me because I do have some points that I want to go over, refine and clarify some of my points, and basically suggest some new ones. And hopefully, if Gillette, you're watching for whatever reason, or a employee from Gillette it happens to be watching, I don't know why you would be, but if you happen to be doing so, I want to tell you what actually went wrong with your video. Now, it was a good intention of a video. I tried to stress this as much as possible throughout my video. It just was very poorly executed, and that's why it fell short of its mark. Now, it's brought up a lot of good points. Some of it, which, a lot of people have been talking about it, and it's more of a informing people who aren't aware of it as to telling people who are actively engaged in this dialogue about certain things. Now, this, for someone who is maybe entry level into the dialogue or the whole conversation about this thing, this is very contradictory to what's actually happening. And I do feel like because of this overgeneralization, it doesn't communicate what it's supposed to. And yeah, that's really bad for this video. In terms of its actual job, it's a commercial. It's a commercial. I'm not going to call it a short film as it's titled, because that's essentially what it is. It's a commercial. But, that being said, the job of this commercial was to show how progressive a company can be with its thought process. Now, to some people, it may be that, Gillette's just trying to open minds in a sense. It's not what it's trying to do. It's trying to show that it can be progressive and it will not be always oriented towards men. That being said, look at the women Gillette razors. Go ahead, look them up. They always cost more than men. Just saying. I actually know some people who choose to pick up men Gillettes, even though they're women, just because they're cheaper. So, Gillette, work on that, please. But, in all honesty, it's one of those things where you have to be like, yeah, you know what, this is not really what the intention of the video is. And PewDiePie put it very eloquently when he said that
I just think it's cringeworthy. That's what it is. Why is Gillette trying to tell me, or everyone, that guys are a problem? And literally putting all guys that are problematic in the same category? Why not focus on something positive instead? A positive example. Showcase men that actually do something good. If you want to have an inspiring message instead of something that says, shame on everyone. At the end of the day, Gillette's goal is to sell products. Their motivation behind this video was to do exactly just that. That doesn't mean that's necessarily is bad, but at the same time, again, it's so cringy that they're trying to put up this message to sell more products.
Alright guys, so with that being said, this is the end of the video. If you guys enjoyed, make sure you guys leave a like. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. But, few things. One, I just want to stress this again. I'm nitpicking what was wrong with the video. I can't stress this enough. The important points that it brings up are just that. They're important. But I felt like there was a need to address how they did poorly in conveying their message. With all of that out of the way, Creekcraft. I'm sorry that hasn't come out. This was actually supposed to come out after the Creekcraft episode, but unfortunately, due to OBS being very stupid and limited time, I've actually spent over a week of, putting in work. So everything that was going to be on that video is now done. So all the farms and everything, that's all done. So don't worry about that. It's not like I've been slacking for the last week or so. But that being said, there isn't going to be a Creekcraft video until I can get this OBS thing working. So expect more videos somewhat like this, just for a while until I can kind of get my head straight as to what's going to be going on with that. Also, PC. I'm going to be selling my PC, so I'm going to be selling it on eBay. I will be leaving links to that in the description below. I'm going to be leaving links to PewDiePie in the description below, and I'm also going to be leaving the link of the Gillete commercial down in the video description as well, just in case you guys want to check that out, see some of the constructive criticism that it's been getting. I haven't been able to look through everything and actually address all of them, but you may even see some of my comments with them. So yeah, anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I know this is a bit of a longer video, but hopefully you guys stayed until the end, and if you did, let me know with a comment down below. As always, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been Regal. Goodbye.